I've got to manage myself, I've got to manage my mind. The task is not easy, but to higher heights I climb.
I'm determined to succeed, so no excuses, please. If you don't want success in life, then don't hinder me. Yes, let the whole world know you are a CEO. You are a CEO. I'm a CEO. You are a CEO. I'm a CEO. The time is here to celebrate. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. Yes, let the whole world know. The time is here to celebrate. Success is calling, so don't be late. You are a CEO.
Hello everyone, Michael Lee Parker, and we are here again on CEO TV Live, and I want to welcome you to another show here at CEO TV. And listen, we've been talking about something so important over the past few weeks. We've been talking about money, and we've been talking about a breakthrough application, Money CEO, that is coming to you soon. And tonight is part 3 of our series on Money CEO. Now, I want to talk to you about where we're going and where our focus is for tonight. Now, we've covered several areas, and as I was mentioning earlier, Money CEO and this application that we're going to be revealing very soon in the coming months, we're getting you ready for it because this is going to be a breakthrough application, a game changer to how we manage our money every single day. Now, I want to go over and begin to remind you of what we've learned so far. We talked about awareness and how we must be aware of our situation. We must be aware of what is going on with our money. And we talked about that, and we also looked at the Money CEO prototype and explained different areas that are so important as it relates to awareness. Another key thing we talked about was the word planning. And we talked about how important it is to have a plan and how you begin to lay out what is happening with your money, what is happening with different categories of your spending, how you begin to look at your year, what is happening across the year, and even getting into your debt planning as well as the goals that you set and having a plan to meet those goals financially. Now, tonight, we're going to go into another word and another focus area. Now, we've been talking about all these different elements, but there's a key word I want to leave with you for our focus tonight. And that word is the word direction. We all need direction when it comes to our money. So we might have some sort of awareness, we might even have some planning, but where are we trying to go? What is the direction we're trying to get to? So you can even have a plan not based on the right direction though, right? So direction is really important. When we think about direction, a few things I want you just to keep in mind. So, when you think about the road ahead with your money and thinking about where you're going, we all know we've got to have clarity. Where are we headed? Where are we going? Where am I driving towards? This is very critical because if I don't understand that, some people say there's light at the end of the tunnel, but if you've heard it said before that could be a train, right? And so we have to make sure we know exactly where we're going when it comes to our money. Now, another key thing is when we're thinking about decisions, another key thing that we often are faced with is those critical decisions of do I turn left or I turn right? Turning left or right here represents just different decisions we're faced with financially. Should I buy this? Should I lease this? Should I invest in this? Should I cut back on this? Should I make an adjustment here? All these things are things we're thinking about all the time. And again, if you have direction, you'll know if that turn lines up with your direction. If you don't have a direction, it's very hard to make those types of decisions. Another key thing When you start looking at your decisions, sometimes you get pulled many different ways. There's many voices online, many voices on social media. There's voices in our family, voices in our background, things we've been through that talk to us as well in our mind. So sometimes you feel like, go over here. Another time you feel like, no, this way. And you feel this constant tug of war of what you should do with your resources, how you should approach your money. And sometimes, if we're honest, we just don't know what to do. You know, we have the money, we have the different things that are coming our way. We saw the ad on television, we saw something in the store, we got this thought we had about something we want to do around the house, but we really don't have a sense of rule. And this is, again, very important. Now, you could be floating on money, right? But if you don't know what you're looking at, if you don't know where you're going, it does not matter. And a lot of people, we've seen great athletes and celebrities that kind of was floating on money. And in 2 years, they were broke. Why? Because they didn't have any sense of direction. And often we think about education in school and in college, all trade schools, all sorts of things. But none of these institutions teach us about money. And it is wired that way that people in our institutions of learning are built to be taught how to work. That's what our whole system was built on, teaching you how to work. And when we work, we pay taxes, right? We'll get more into this another time, but I want you to understand that the education system was not built to teach us about money. So we have to begin to understand, what is it that is behind the curtain about money? How should we be thinking about money? And there's many layers to it. We're going to talk about some of those layers here tonight. Now, another key element to keep in, when you really begin to think about all of this, I want you to read this statement that I said: we must make the right moves to win the game of money. So just like you see this chessboard here, I want you to understand that there is a game of money. And we have to know how to play that game. And we have to know what game we're playing, right? Some of you are playing backgammon and you should be playing checkers. Some of you playing checkers, you should be playing chess. Some of you playing chess, you should be playing spades. I'm just having fun now. But at the end of the day, you got to know what game you're playing. And even when you think about chess, every row has a different part that it plays. It has a different advantage. And you have to understand, with respect to your money, what are the different areas of advantage that you can create. And again, what is chess about? It's about positioning, right? I want you to remember that. How do I position myself? Where do I position, right, my knight or my queen or the pawns? What are just pawns, right? Decoys to what I'm really going to do with my money. All of these things we have to understand, because if we don't understand that game, you'll get caught in the things that keep us in the wrong way financially and never allow us to get ahead. Now, when you think about all sorts of games, including even fitness, right? Fitness has a gaming element to it, right? You got to know your caloric intake. You got to know your resting metabolic rate, just to name different things. There's all kind of numbers that you can get, right, that you can understand. There's a lot of people talking about many different elements now, macros, and how much you do with this and do with that. And you look at the nutritional facts, and there's all these numbers. And you learn how those numbers work and how you play the game of fitness, how to get your body to respond. There's sports, right, with scoreboards and different things that help you know if you're winning or losing. Well, how much more so about our financial fitness, our money game, right? We have to know, what is even the scoreboard? What am I even looking at? What game am I even in? These are things we have to consider. And so many people today have no idea what the rules are, what the game is. And we're going to talk tonight just about the fundamental levels. But as we go along, we'll learn there's even higher, deeper levels that we need to understand about money. Now, think about this for a minute. This, what you see here, we're all familiar with. Now, listen to what they call this: your credit score. I want you to just let that resonate for a minute. Your credit score, right? So truly, there's a game being played if somebody's keeping score, right? So we want to understand the framework of that game. And we want to understand how to play in that game responsibly. So again, when you think about your credit score, what's the big problem with credit scores? The problem is the score is, by the time you look at your credit score, it's too late, right? It's like looking at the score, you know, and now the game is over, right? Now I'm already at this score. We need to know along the way in day-to-day living, how are we impacting our credit score? Being able to think responsibly, because there's all these intense rules that are measuring whether or not we are good people financially. And if you don't know the game, you can be living your life every day not knowing you're hurting yourself. And this is, again, what we talk about within Money CEO. All right. Now, before we get to the prototype, I'm going to take some time to walk you through the 7 goals of financial stability that Money CEO focuses on. So we focus on 7 goals to get you to be financially stable, okay? Now, this is not going to the high levels of wealth. This is not getting into the high rules of money that can go to the next level. This is really to make sure we're just responsibly managing our money in day-to-day life, day-to-day real life. This is what we need. This is where we all get mixed up. So I want you to understand 7 goals that we have in Money CEO. I want to read each of these to you. Number 1, essential spending. We want to get our members to live within their means. Our members can do this by using no more than 50% of their normal monthly income on household essentials such as shelter, utilities, groceries, key bill payments, and debt payments. This is what we measure as essential spending. And this is one of the goals of Money CEO, is to get you here where you're not spending more than half of your income toward essential things. And so keep in mind, essential still has boundaries, right? Because it's essential that I have a car, but what car do I get? It's essential that I have a place to stay, but where do I choose to stay, right? All of these things we have to keep in mind. Essential spending, number 1. Number 2, credit spending. Getting our members to use credit responsibly. Our members can do this by ensuring they minimize the balance they carry forward each month. In addition to keeping all credit card balances to less than 30% of the credit card limits. Now, these are things that the credit scores and the game out there will ding you for, but what if you could keep your eye on this more responsibly in day-to-day life? This is goal number 2. Goal number 3, household cushion. Get our members to keep a cushion in their household account to cover most unexpected essential expenses without touching their savings account, okay? So we have, every bank account we have has a reason for existing. And we ask our members to always identify what we call our household account. We talked about that in some of our previous sessions. Now, in that household account, we want to be able to cover our essential things and have a little bit more there in case something unexpected comes up with our essential things, right? And that can happen. Tire went out or whatever might happen. These are things that we account for in our household cushion. And this is, again, an important goal. Goal number 4, savings cash. Get our members to save cash that could last for 6 months if an emergency arose. Actually, that should be 7 months. So we'll say 6 to 7 months arose in which they suddenly had no income. Our members can do this by keeping 7 months of cash based on their monthly expenses and debt payments in their savings account at all times. Now, I know some of you out there are saying, oh my gosh, good luck. I'm just trying to make it to next month. I know there's people out there like that, and that's fine. But this is just a goal. If you have something pushing you and reminding you to begin to set aside money for this goal, you have 6 to 7 months set aside. Very, very important. And this is just for good survival and stability financially. All right. And again, there's a lot of elements to being able to accomplish that. All right. Goal number 5. Hope you all are still with me out there. We want to get our members to hold on to their savings. Our members can do this by keeping at least 95% in their savings account each month. So whatever I had in there last month, to make sure I have at least about 95% of that still in there the next month. So there's a way to help us keep this in mind, that we want to make sure we're keeping our savings. So this is really a goal of making sure you really do save, right? Not have a savings account, but do you have the discipline of saving? Very, very important measurement. All right, goal number 6, income needed for debt. So get our members to keep their debt under control. Our members can do this by needing no more than 30% of their normal monthly income to pay debt payments. So how much of your income is going to credit card payments, other key loans, right, and debt? We have to monitor that. This is something that's very, very important, often looked at in the financial industry, or if you're trying to qualify for loans, a lot of times they look at some of these measurements as well. So this is another key goal that Money CEO is going to push you to achieve when you use it. The 7th and final goal, and this is again, let me see, here we go. The 7th and final goal is on-time payments, okay? Get our members to pay 100% of their bill payments on time or early, because this is something that is very instrumental in how you are monitored and measured to be a less of a risk financially for someone to support you or allow you to have their resources and use them. So if you're trying to get a loan or qualify for things with a vehicle, whatever it might be, on-time payments are very important. So this is another critical goal of Money CEO. So these are the critical goals that I want you to keep in mind. Now, I want to leave you with this before we get to the prototype. I want you to remember this. Remember, forget, and remember again. Now, when you say, well, what are you talking about there? Let me say that again. Remember, forget, and remember again. All right. So I want you to remember everything I just said, because that's so important. And if you understood that, you could really, really be a giant financially in how you're having direction of what you should be doing. But you're going to forget. You're not going to remember all that. But by having a tool like Money CEO, we can make sure you remember again. So how do we remember all of these rules of the game if we don't have something reminding us? So we're going to remember, then we're going to forget. How do we remember again? Bring us back to those rules so we can manage things responsibly. This is why we need a tool like Money CEO. That is why you are a CEO, is going to provide this breakthrough tool to help all of us be the CEO of our money. All right, I hope you enjoyed that overview. It is time to get back into the prototype. You know, in all these past shows in this series, we've been going to the real prototype, showing you what it's going to feel like to actually use Money CEO, and it's time to do that right now. When I get back, just like that, I'm going to be right here, and we're going to walk through Money CEO. Hello, everyone. As promised, I am back here, and I have my phone, and I'm ready for us to go into the prototype. And so let's jump in. So as you can see here, this is where we left off. We went over all this great stuff on the Plan tab. And now, right next to it, we're going to go over to the Coaching tab. So here on the Coaching tab, oh, this is beautiful here. Because here we can see so much great things in activity. We can get some direction about what's going on with our money. Now, before going in too much detail, I'm going to start up here at the top. You can see where today, of course, is not April 25th, but you'll be able to see what day it is. And as of that day, you'll see what your last ratings look like. And these ratings will be refreshed every month for you, and you can always see what is happening. Now, I want you to see where it says payment health, and right now it's saying I'm doing most excellent in that area. So at the top, we have some general summary health ratings. So let me click on these. So you have payment health, we have spending discipline, and we have cash health. Now, these are summary areas. So of the 7 goals that I gave you, these are all summed up into these general areas. They take a sum of several of those ratings and see how you're doing in, spending, paying things on time, and with your cash. So let's click on spending discipline. You can see the rating changed to good at 82%. If I was to click on cash health, I'm almost fair. I'm not fair yet, but I'm in the yellow, headed toward the center there. This is very easy for me to just get a high-level summary of how I'm doing, right? And then we also can see where it says August 2020. I would be able to click on that, and I can get a year-to-date average of how I'm doing year-to-date, or I should say year-to-date, and then I can get a 3-month average. Over the last 3 months, how have I been doing? Over the last 6 months, how I've been doing. And then I can even go backward in time and remember what I did in previous months. You know, I had a tough month or what have you. I can see the history as well. So this is very important just as a general rule. Now, if we keep scrolling down, we see where we have financial analysis. And now this is important because here's a description of all of the categories of spending. So you see the letters and you see the different percentages. And when you go below, you can see what those letters represent. So you have housing, insurance, food, savings, and you can see what the percentage is as well as the amount of money that went to that category. Now, this is being updated real time all throughout the day. And so this is a great place to see how you're spending your money. So I can also click on any of these. So let's look at donations. I could click on donations and I can see what is it that fell underneath that category and see the items that are associated with this. So this is 9.7% of my spending, but I can see, well, what is that though? I could also close out on that. I can click on F was donations. I can click on the pie chart and also see exactly the same information, see what this actually was. So this is also very helpful to see what's going on with my spending and what percentage of my money is going where. Very important. Now, another key thing that I want to show you, you see this area called need or want. Now, this is a very important element of our coaching. Now, let's go there. Now, here I can begin to see of all of my income, you know, here's my total income, and these are just examples for sake of you seeing how it will work. If my income was $1,200, I could see on the expense side how many items I was spending money on that were need or essential, and then what things are want. So in Money CEO, we're going to define certain categories as need categories and want categories to help coach you. So some things we might try to say is a need, but it's really not. And we're going to define some of that. And some of you might have differences of opinion, but it's going to help you to really begin to look at and start the conversation of need versus want. And then anything left over is just saving, right? And so if you have something left over beyond that, this is money that you're saving. So this is a very, very important element because a lot of times we don't realize with our money, there's a big decision on how much I actually put toward things that I need versus things that I want. This is a very critical analysis, and then how much I'm saving. So the money coming in is going to fall in one of the three of these buckets. Either I'm buying something that I need, I'm buying something that I want, or I'm saving, right? That's it. And so this is, again, something that we want to actually keep in mind. And you'll be able to actually use this as a great tool as well. Now, let's go over here to the coaching area, right? And we've been talking about that. We've been talking about direction and coaching and rules of the game. So now, when we go to the coaching area, now you'll be able to see something like this where for those ratings and those, remember I said, remember, forget, and remember again, and all those rules, and you know them, but you can't remember them. You're not thinking about that when you're day-to-day living and driving down the road and going to the store and buying stuff you like. So this is something that will keep an eye on it for you. Imagine that every day you do anything, it's being fed into Money CEO, and it is evaluating those 7 goals and helping you to see where you're at. So with essential spending, you can see here I'm doing excellent or what have you. There'll be a description there for you. You'll also see down below exactly what you need to do to improve, which is important. You don't want to just know where you're at. You want to know what you need to do to improve. So if I clicked on credit spending, so here you can see I'm doing almost fair there, and also I can see, be reminded of the rules there, and it'll tell me below what do I need to do to go from almost fair to fair. How do I take the next step? We just want baby steps. What do I need to do the next thing? I can click on household cushion. Here I'm doing good, or click on savings cash, right? And see the different things there. Here I'm doing very good. Or We've got savings kept. All of those rules that we talked about. Here I'm doing almost good. Then income needed for debt. I'll be able to see I'm doing most excellent there, right? So this is good to know. Then on-time payments. I'm doing excellent. So this has just got some, placeholder information here for now. But when you see your rating, you'll be able to also see here's where you are and here's what you need to do to move to the next step. This is how we don't want to be overwhelmed by how do I go from almost fair to most excellent, right? We just need to know, what do I need to do with my money? And what adjustments do I need to make for me to move from almost fair to fair, right? And I begin to take that step. And we begin to walk and have a pace moving step by step to a better financial position. And this is the key. Money CEO will literally take you by the hand and walk you from where you are to where you need to be financially. And if you get to the point where you're excellent in all of these areas, you will have complete stability financially, and you'll be able to move into other areas. Now, we're going to, there's other things we're going to be talking about, but I want you to understand there's no use in talking about all these other areas of money and creating wealth and all these different things if we're not stable and if we don't understand the rules and if we don't play the game the right way. So this is what this is about. All right, so you can see here, you'll be able to look at your coaching. You can see where it says June 2020. You'll be able to go back in previous months, see how your months have changed, what you did in the past. And all of this will help you have direction about where you should be going. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. When you make decisions, if it is driving these ratings the wrong way, you are going in the wrong direction. That's what you need to know. You just need to know I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm already here. If I spend more on my credit card, my rating's going to go down, right? I'm already here. If I spend more cash on this, I know this particular rating is going to go up, right? All of these things we have to evaluate. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about having direction in Money CEO. So I hope you enjoy this summary here. And again, this is very straightforward because we're going to keep it really simple. And keep in mind, when you look at this, think about it. Every month, we'll send you a notification and say, hey, your new report has been updated. You'll go in there and see. Now, with the spending, you can look at that anytime. But all your other monthly ratings, those 7 goals, those will update every month, and it'll tell you how you're doing. Because a lot of times, you can't just look at today and see how you're doing. It takes some time to really see what your financial health is looking like. But every month, you'll be able to get the information you need so you can make adjustments. And again, what do? When you see your direction, if your direction is not going where you need it to go, you can now go back to your plan, right? And make adjustments to be headed in the right direction. So this is why we need both. We need the ability to plan, but we need direction. And now you will have that at your fingertips, never wondering what you should be doing. You'll always know what you should be doing. You'll always know where you should be going. And you'll always know when you keep striving for excellence, it is always taking you to where you need to be financially stable. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this show, and I want you all to think about something here. We have covered a 3-part series so far on Money CEO, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We talked about awareness. We talked about planning. We talked about direction. What is our next show going to be about? What is our next show going to be about? Are we done? Absolutely not. We're not done. We're going to go to part 4, Money CEO. We got more to talk about. Listen, this issue of money is a big deal. It's a lot we need to deal with. There's so much going on right now. Look at what's happening in this pandemic. Look what's happening with employment. Look at what's happening in our bank accounts. Look what's happening with all the stimulus packages. There's so much happening. We have to get this right. We're going to take our time and make sure we get it right. So don't miss our next show, part 4, Money CEO. Until now and then, get out there and let the whole world know that you are a CEO.
Yes, let the whole world know.
CEO.